My bestie Jan, well, I call her like a sister to me, came to visit me this past weekend and we did some house hunting. So anyway, but my name is Jamela. Thank you again for tuning in for another episode of Living the Lifestyle of the Thrift and Famous. And after those days of house hunting, I just had to go back to this when it said the typical U.S. remains in their home for 11 years. Me, I'm like, I'm not leaving. But it was fun doing that. And to kill some time, we actually popped into an estate sale in between houses because the realtor had some things to do. So, but anyway, it was interesting because we actually popped into an estate sale that was in Greenville, but we were house hunting in Spartanburg, but they're like next door to each other. So that was great. But I'm glad I found this house, this estate sale, because he had some beautiful, beautiful things in his house. And he was a collector for years and was trying to downsize some pieces because they just, like myself, we become overwhelmed with our stuff. But all the crystal that he had. And this was a pair of the Waterford glasses that I was gifted to. I was close to getting them, but I did not. But anyway, he had such beautiful furniture pieces. The home was absolutely beautiful. The gentleman's taste was he really just had some quality pieces, and you can tell he had been a collector. And then as I walked through, I saw this plant. I was like, oh my gosh, now that plant I do like. And the plants were for sale in the house. However, not that particular one. It had been sold. But look around. First of all, look at all these jars here. I think they're called like biscuit jars, but those were very, very nice, and I love them. And again, these are more of the pieces that he had around the room. Well, this is the dining room, and pretty much everything everything that was in here was for sale. And the dishes were, this is the stuff I love. And look at that demi-tasse set. This is oh my God, look at, it's just very, very pretty. And I was so close to getting this stuff. But like I said, all I see is my future lying ahead of me. And again, I will never, ever understand why people go to big box stores for crystal. But anyway, look at all the plants. Oh my God. More dishes, and everything was, like I said, this was quality stuff. And you couldn't beat it for the price for what he had it. So many books was all along the counters, cookbooks, all kind of decorating books. It was just a lot of stuff. So I was, even though I was enthralled with everything else, I said, well, I'm just going to focus on getting some plants, because he did have some beautiful plants there too. So, and there were healthy plants. So I kind of treated myself. Instead of the crystal and the dishes that I don't need, not that I need plants, but I did belly up and get me some plants from the sale. I was fighting the urge to go to a nursery, and since the nursery came to me at this sale, I just couldn't resist it. So, and plus I needed plants for my new planter. So anyway, I'm good. And then we popped into a thrift store. Now look at this picture. It's just a print. And guess how much the thrift store went on for this? $145.50. Right then and there, I caught a serious attitude at the door. And then they had this pencil sketching of the horses, which was nice, but that was only $7.50. And moving around, I saw some glasses, always look at those. And I spotted these Georges Briard glasses. And those, I have to say, I was happy I found those. And they were only $2 each. So needless to say, yes, those did come home with me. And then I saw this dresser here, and this was pretty nice, but it was sold. I'm not sure how much it was sold for, but that was a nice piece. It was pretty durable, kind of had a mid-century style to it, but that wasn't bad looking at. And then we popped into another store. This was a restore here, and that channel back sofa was a really nice sofa to have. Actually, it was in great condition. But and the other pieces, as far as the furniture wise, it was priced pretty fairly, and they had a lot of pretty good stuff. So yeah, I was kind of happy with what I saw in the restore. But and the channel back was priced at $100, so that was a really, really good price. And it was clean. It wasn't, it didn't have any holes or tears, or the fabric wasn't even worn out. And this set of, they kind of Art Deco to me, and with the lamps with the Tiffany style shade, those were $100 each. And this vase here was $35. So I thought that was kind of high. Now this rattan sofa was like an outdoor, but I guess you could use it like a sunroom. And this was $175. I really liked that piece, and that fabric was just fabulous. I actually loved it. And again, in perfect condition. The cushions were fine. It wasn't, flimsy or anything like that. So I thought that was a really good buy on that one. So yeah, it wasn't pretty bad in the store. Like I said, I really was just out looking, and just because this is one of the things me and Jan love doing so much, so we just did it. Now, these bar stools were very, very nice. But again, I kind of thought that the price was a little kind of steep on them. And then I spotted this jug. They called it a Chinese rice wine jar. First they had it tagged at $300, but by now it's still at $170, and I thought that was very expensive. This nightstand was $25, and that wasn't too bad. But again, I don't know how their pricing is going. And this table here was pretty nice, but again, that one was priced at $100. And this antique Empire dresser, which was really nice, that one was priced at $325. Now this is a really nice piece, and I think it was reasonable, but not, again, from a thrift store. I did like it, but I thought the knobs needed to be changed, because those knobs did nothing for that dresser, nor did it suit the era of it. But anyway, whoever would be the lucky buyer, I hope they change the knobs on it. But anyway, it was a nice piece. Something like that price I would expect at an antique shop, because you have to buy the pieces to put into a shop, versus these are donated. And this lamp, which I liked, with the lion's head on it too, this lamp was $50. And I thought, again, kind of steep, because this is donated stuff. We saw this buffet, and I thought this would make, one of the houses we looked at had a long vanity, and that would be great to use as a sink. And I thought that was a nice piece, and that was $285. And then this mirror here was nice, and the sofa's nice. Everything is pretty nice to look at. But when I think about the prices, you just kind of be a little hesitant. But luckily, again, I'm just out here perusing. This Russell Wright teapot was $25, and I thought about getting it, but and I did buy my granddaughter this dress for $8, so that was a great deal. And remember the crystal candle holders I scored at the other estate sale for just $3. Look at how they cleaned up so nicely. These are really, really nice. I think they're called the Sun and the Moon, or the Sun and the Moon, or something like that. But they are Art Deco, and they are crystal. And I kind of like this look for spring on the table. And of course, like I said, I did get those Georges Briard glassware just to add to my collection. I just like collecting the vintage barware. I know I have to call it quits at some time, because I don't have enough room left in my cabinet. I got those squeezed in there, on this shelf here with the other Culver glass, but I don't want it to look too crowded. So, but I do appreciate the fact that I have this barware. And this is the plant that I got for the planter that I had previously from another estate sale that I couldn't wait to find the right plant for it. So I think this philodendron looks good in that pot, and I just moved the other one out into the foyer area. So yeah, that all came together for me. But again, it's all about finding the right things for your home, because remember, beauty is being home and loving it. Thank you again for tuning in for another episode of Living the Lifestyle of the Thrift and Famous. I hope you enjoyed this one. If so, drop me a comment. Don't forget to like and share, and I'll see you again.